It's been a couple days since the allegations against Justin Sane seemingly caused his band Anti-Flag to suddenly break up out of nowhere in the middle of a European tour. You don't need to be a modern-day Nostradamus to be able to predict that this news would cause a tsunami on Twitter. Some people were shocked. Others weren't surprised at all. Either way, though, this news rocked the internet and sent ripples beyond just the punk world. Hey, how's it going? I'm Dan Frampton, and today we're going to explore the public reaction to this Anti-Flag drama. Before we get into that, how's about you toss me a quick thumbs up and a stack of pancakes down there in the comments? You know, it's crazy. 65% of you haven't subscribed to the channel yet. Why? What's the problem? Are you too scared to do it or whatever? Am I a guilty pleasure that you don't want to go all in on, as someone once said? Prove them wrong and subscribe today. It's free, you can leave it private, and once I make a joke you don't like, you can take it right back. But for right now, just throw down that subscription, that thumbs up, and a couple pancakes. Okay, let's get started with the video. So for whatever reason, if this is your first time hearing about this story, I'll give a little bit of context. I did a whole live stream when it first came out, and it was my most successful live stream to date. Most people wanted to come to this thing, and then YouTube was like, no, we're gonna demonetize it, but then I appealed it and got monetization back. So if you want to go watch the full hour and a half of me going into this story, then that exists there. So basically what happened, there's this podcast called Enough, and they have victims of SA come on to tell their story. They had on a guest named Christina Cerati, and she told this story of an unnamed assailant, but the internet quickly put it together that it was Justin Sane. As soon as this podcast hit the internet, that's when the sketchy stuff started to happen. Anti-Flag socials started to disappear. Justin Sane himself seemingly just vanished. And it all happened while they were on a European tour. Nobody's made any statements, nobody's come out about this whatsoever, but we're gonna get into the public reaction here on Twitter. We're gonna do our best Bo Black's impersonation over here and just read some tweets. I wanted to start off with the most visually dramatic one. This guy burning his Anti-Flag records, and he wrote on them here, Justin Sane, this is the end of you, my friend, and then crossed out friend, and scumbag something, just burning some vinyl. Look at that. Isn't that satisfying? I do think it might be a little bit dramatic, but I like the sentiment. But he apologizes to Chris II, Chris number 2, which I don't know. Chris hasn't really said anything yet, and we'll get into that in a little bit, but I don't know if there's any sorries that you need to be given out over here. This one guy says, don't say sorry. There's no way Chris and the rest of the guys didn't know what was going on. They've been tight-knit for over 30 years, sharing the same van. They should all be locked up as they were all accountable and most likely were aware. So that's just the kind of sentiment that's floating around out there, you know what I mean? And it is crucial to mention that these are allegations, okay? But this isn't a matter of legality. This is a matter of if you would trust this person, this other human being, okay? And I think the internet and the public have enough information to go on to be like, this guy's a weirdo piece of crap that we want nothing to do with. None of us are lawyers. None of us are judges. I don't know what's going to happen as far as the legal ramifications of all this. All we know is that it's disgusting. JC says, my heart goes out to those girls that were abused. Fuck you, Justin Sane. I feel dirty for having an Anti-Flag tattoo. Yeah, I can imagine there's so many Anti-Flag tattoos out there. These guys helped shape the worldview for a lot of people, okay? People that were really looking for this kind of message found that kind of message in this band, and I can only imagine how betrayed they all feel right now. Official Italian-American spokesperson comes in and says, if you really believed in any of the stuff Anti-Flag sang about, you'll hold Justin Sane accountable for his actions. Hashtag Anti-Flag. Yeah, I endorse this tweet. Ellie de la Creme says, hearing about Justin Sane from Anti-Flag being an alleged R-word is breaking my fucking heart. This band was so important to me, and it's horrible knowing he was perpetrating a lie to all of us all these years. I genuinely hope the other members of this band didn't know. That's for sure. We can only hope and speculate. And then we get into the brain dead takes like this. Knowing Justin personally, I can vouch that his violence goes against his values. Evident not just in his music, but in his life too. Don't judge until proven. Imagine just saying that to someone that was just a victim of something. Hey, I'm not gonna believe you until it's proven by a legal system that has been corrupt for years. Yeah, you're gonna wait for the corrupt legal system to tell you that this guy's a monster? That's ridiculous logic. I went into this person's account. We're not going to get into it because this person's a nobody nothing, but they don't know Justin personally, okay? They're a fan, maybe an acquaintance that has sent a couple texts back and forth, you know what I mean? She doesn't know them, and even if you did know them, some of these deep, dark people have this deep, dark secret, and they make you think that they're so charming. There's been movies about this whole thing. And under that brain-dead take, we have Annette saying, you can check out my profile for my personal experience when I was 19. Just because it didn't happen to you doesn't mean it didn't happen. 100%. We're going to get into her profile and read her story as well. And then Hannah says, I'll be happy to tell you everything he did to me in February 2020. All right, that wasn't that long ago, just before the pandemic hit. And this raccoon Rena or whatever isn't the only person spouting this nonsense, okay? We got someone over here I've been lucky enough to spend time with and get to know Justin Sane personally, and there's no way I believe any of the allegations. Anti-Flag genuinely believed in what they preached. Such a shame. This will cause longer-term issues for 5 minutes of fame. You're the stupidest person in the world, buddy. This isn't for 5 minutes of fame. If you just look at those profiles of those other people that came out, they have like 100 followers, maybe 20 followers. You know what I mean? This is not for fame. They're not coming out here to do this for clout. Sinister Ginger comes in. If anyone who posts about the Anti-Flag breakup and deletes it after people comment about Justin Sane's allegations, you are part of the problem. And before anyone says innocent until proven guilty, an innocent person doesn't delete all social media accounts, websites, Discord server, and start refunding everybody that had a Patreon subscription. These people had no problem using their voices to talk about their views, and yet they are too chicken shit to make a comment about the allegations. This shit, on the other hand, isn't surprising to me. I know it happens, but at the same time, especially with a band that I've loved since I was younger, it still manages to shock me when I hear about this shit. So yeah, the actions of Justin Sane is what's making this seem like he's guilty. Seem being the operative word here. There is no legal involved here. We're not taking this to court. We're, like I said, we are not the police officers, the judge, the jury, the executioners. None of that. We have enough as the public to go by to say that this guy is a freak and that we don't trust him. Easy, done. So people coming in coping with this nonsense, being like, oh, he would never do it. He is such a big time smart guy. He would never be so violent. He's so nice. Oh, and they must be doing it for 5 minutes of fame. This is like low hanging fruit, and all of these arguments are always proven to be the stupidest arguments long term in any of these cases. And then of course people are ripping him in the comments down here, but it's best said at the very bottom by BCA Merchandise. Shut up, Wesley. But I could find 2 other people that came out with stories against Justin Sane. We're just gonna hear them out. And that starts off by saying, for those saying separate the art from the artist, the question is, why would you want to when the artist is a violent R-word? I had multiple sketch Anti-Flag interactions with Justin when I was 19 and he was 30. So this news is no surprise. I thought someone cool just wanted to be my friend. But he persisted for nudes. I was a virgin, was obsessed with the idea of taking me to a nude beach. This is disgusting. He answered the door in his jocks when I picked him up for lunch. Tried for a threesome with a friend and I. Convinced me multiple times to come to his hotel room alone to hang out. I was just a teenager at the time. I honestly didn't think anything of it. I remember him sexting someone while we were hanging out too, and acting sleazy about it. He was very charming, but I feel fucked up thinking about the situations I was in with him at such a young age. Christina has my full support, and I 100% believe her allegation. Thanks for the likes and support, and to be clear, I'm not seeking attention, just sharing my piece of the puzzle to show he's a sketchy guy who doesn't uphold the values he claims to, and his pattern of predatory behavior dating back at least 20 years. The reason for my previous post is that a number of people have accused me of attention seeking. If my personal experiences are helpful in proving that this isn't an isolated incident and it supports some other women impacted on a deeper scale than I was, then I'm here to help. I think that that's very brave. That's extremely brave to come out and say that. I will never accuse this person of doing this for attention. Are you kidding me? 21 followers. If this was someone that was like seeking attention and they thought like that, they'd be after way more than just 21 followers. And another one speaking over here is Hannah, and her first post about it here that I can see says, remember when I tagged you 6 months ago, Chris Dose? I didn't name names because I was too scared, but I was talking about Justin Sane, and I think you knew. Turd Ferguson comes in and says, yo, silence equals violence, right? Y'all toured on that idea, right? For a band that stood so staunchly on ideals like these, the response is fucking pathetic. Yeah, like the lack of response, the silence is deafening. 16-bit gal comes in and says, I'm gonna need Chris number 2 to come out and say something because it's insane to talk about sexism and respecting women in your songs, lives, speeches. Then your band's frontman is an R-word. Apologize to the victims and address the issue. And when we check out Chris number 2's Twitter over here, the silence, like I said, is deafening. And if silence is violence, I think you're also accountable over here, Chris number 2. Alex Likes Pizza 5 says, you know what's punk as fuck? Not women. I'll add on to that. You know what's punk as fuck? Not anyone. Need More Coffee 15 comes in and says, we, your fans, deserve a statement more than the Patreon one. Make a statement for your fans. Saved by your music, paid for your music, and your show's fans. Stand up, make a statement. After all, you sang, feminism is for everybody. Faster on Fire 525 says, to those of you who made positive changes in your life because of Anti-Flag, those who became sober, those who became less bigoted, those who kept living because of their words, the person who inspired you may be a monster, but your growth is still valid and important. And that's a wonderful sentiment. I 100% endorse that as well. Damaged Emo Queen makes a whole statement saying, Dear Justin, for more than half my life, I looked up to you and I respected you. I introduced you to my kids and made you a part of their lives. You and what you stood for are directly related to the person I am today. I was so proud to call you a friend. Today, however, I am sickened by you. What you did is unforgivable. The community is in shock and a little broken, but the pain that you have caused to your band and fans is nothing compared to the pain that you caused her. As an SA victim, I can tell you firsthand that she will never fully heal. You are the monster you told us to hate, and here we are taking your advice. With hate, Trish. Oh, that is pointed. And then one more meme just to round us off. Here's Homer Simpson just throwing out all of his anti-flag stuff. And I think we'll close it off there. If you like this video, you might like these other videos. Okay, see you later.